Peace and Yah bless. Yah is a strong one. The strong one is Yah. He's the tree of life. He's the fountain of living waters. He's the spirit and creator of all things that lives and breathes. On this discourse, I'm finally going to get around to the Exodus order, okay, that I was meant to get to on the last video. However, I got a little sidetracked, but did some sidebarring, but what was said needed to be said, okay? I'm here in Jeremiah. I always show you where I am, so you know where to go. Chapter 3, verse number 15. Now listen very carefully, okay? Now use some wise discernment when you read this verse, okay? And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. This ain't talking about church pastors, okay? It's talking about men of Yah, okay, who serve Yah alone and Yah only, and only call upon the name of Yah. Just because it has this word pastors doesn't mean it's talking about just anybody who's a pastor, okay? Because, people see that word, they get misconstrued, on what it's talking about. Because we're giving you the true knowledge and understanding of this book. All right? And all that it entails. And also wise counsel. Now, the preceding verse here in 14, we want to talk about that a little bit, okay? Since we're going to talk about the Exodus, all right? Once again, turn, O backsliding children of Israel, right? Saith Yah, for I am married unto you, right? Because we have a marriage covenant relationship with Yah, between Yah and the children of Israel, right? Now he says, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. Okay, now that's definitely an Exodus order that it's talking about right there. So how that will actually look and manifest itself in reality, not quite sure yet. I mean, it's very interesting to hear that. That can only mean that, as we told you, not everybody, necessarily goes there at the same time. Okay? Like I said, we may come out in little waves or whatever the case is. It may not be just, one gigantic exodus. So nonetheless, it's the same exodus. It's just there may be a process that's included in on that, okay? Or it could just be one gigantic exodus, because generally most people are not, that you think are going to go, a lot of these people are not going to go, right? When the time comes, God's not going to put it in their heart, to make it into that remnant of people who turn back to Yah fully and want to do his laws. Because many people, they enjoy their lives, and they enjoy what they have here in the United States or wherever they may be located, and they may not want to go. Okay? And that's good. Okay? It's not a bad thing. Whatever a person wants to do, when we want them to do that, whatever's written in your heart to do that. Okay? Simple as that. I don't care if you're close to me, if you're far away from me, United States is your home and you believe that's your home, then that's where you need to stay. Simple as that, because many of you have many possessions and things like that I know many of you are not going to want to give up. And I know the Caucasian especially, because they have a whole bunch of stuff, big old houses and cars, and they don't want to get over to Israel and have way less than what they have over here in the United States. So many of them are not going to want to go. And that's good too, because, if Yah's put that in your heart, then that's what he's put in your heart. Great. Okay? But I'm sure that's why it states it this way. One of a city and two of a family. Because not everybody's going to take this journey. And as I said before, not everybody should take this journey. Okay? Because many of you are not ready anyway. Because many of you don't even really acknowledge Yah, nor do you acknowledge his law. All right? So that's that. I'm not going to speak any more of that. So let's talk more about the Exodus. The deal with the Exodus, and like I said, even going back to 2016, is we simply were not ready in 2016, Yah righteous was not ready. They thought they were ready. Okay? But she did not come out 2016 or 2018 because, number one, the time period, the 400 years hadn't elapsed. We didn't take that into consideration, back in 2016 and back all the way back to 2012, right? When we were talking about these things, right? Leading up to 2016, all right? And like I said, there wasn't a sound plan there anyway, okay? You have to have a sound plan to go home with. You can't just go draw up logos, have, little, what they call Sabbath day training or services or whatever the case, whatever it is going on with these different, organizations, right? And then just want to go home or have the zeal to go home. There has to be an exact and succinct plan on how to govern the nation and all the many facets of things that goes on with nation building and nation governance, okay? This is not a thing that you can just go home and just, be whimsical about it, okay? You have to know what you're doing. And the elite have to be able to trust that you know what you're doing, when they take us there, because a lot of their name is riding on that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, naturally, they want to make sure you know what you're doing. That's why you can't just put anybody over that situation. The way I keep trying to get across to the elite, you can't just throw these little young girls up there. They don't know what they're doing. It don't matter about them coming in this hotel room and they're, making a copy of this plan that I made, that Yah gave to me to make, okay? Because that's not going to help. That doesn't teach leadership or governance, okay? Nor has Yah raised any of them up to do it, or any other individual. He only gives the plan to the individual who's supposed to receive it, just like he did with Moses, right, with the tabernacle, just like he did with King David. But King David transmitted the plan over to his son Solomon, right, when he died, or before he died, okay? All right? Just like he did with me, all right? This plan, it's a wonderful plan. And as you can see, there's a lot to it. It's a lot of pages, It's probably, 200 or 300 pages to this thing of different things that, we have here, okay, that we didn't have back in 2016 because we didn't have a sound plan in 2016. YRR never had a sound plan. All they had was just the dream they were selling, the hope. They were selling the hope and the dream. You got to have more than hopes and dreams when it comes to nation and governance and governing a nation. You can't just sell hope, man. Because when you get there, you're surely going to fail. You know what I mean? You got to have something very standard, and you got to have protocols, okay? And people whom Yah have not raised up to deal with it, he not going to let them deal with it anyway. Because I've heard they've had people come in here and make copies of this. Well, you can make copies all you want to, but at the end of the day, if you're not the governor, it ain't going to do any good for you to have a copy of it. Because, some of these things I may change, or I might go over, or I might not use, or, we don't know how it's going to go yet, or what Yah wants me to omit, or what Yah wants me to keep. All right, as far as protocols and standards and what should be done and what shouldn't, I'm talking about outside of the Torah. All right, because all these things, within I call it the Kingdom Government Manual, all these things are just, they're just, different things that, that are needed that goes alongside the Torah, okay? And it's a plan, okay? Because you have to have some kind of navigation. You got to be able to navigate the people. You got to be able to take the people somewhere as a leader. Okay? You can't just get home and just wing it. Oh, let's just see what happens when we get there. All right? Because if we leave it to that, man, we leave it like that, that's not gonna be good. Because the people want something they can depend on. Okay, these people are not going to want to uproot their lives and not have something they can depend on, traveling all the way over to the Holy Land. Okay, so we have to have something they can depend on, and some great governance. Okay, all right, and some humility and some honesty and dependability. All right, you have to have those things, okay, within your government structure. Because I spent a great amount of time, on this manual, this kingdom government manual. Okay, like I said, I don't care if people made a copy of it. Really, there's no need to do all that. You know what I mean? Because it's not your position to do that. Okay, we will give you your knowledge and your understanding as Yah disseminates it to us. Okay, so that's that. I'm not going to go through what's inside of the manual. No need. Okay, now let's talk about the Exodus order, okay? Because that's really the order of business on this particular discourse. Now, the Exodus order, okay? We know that Sodom and her daughters had to come back first, and they did, okay? And they did arrive first. They had to precede. They had to precede the house of David. They had to go back first. That's what you're reading right here in Zechariah 12. That's where I am now. So go to Zechariah 12, okay? Chapter 12. And then scroll over to verse number 7. That's why the Most High tells us, and Yah shall save the tenants of Judah first. They have to be saved first, okay? That's why they came out of here first. Okay, that's why everything that Ben-Ami was telling you was real, man, about receiving that vision, that it was time to take it, to take the children of Israel back whenever he took them back, because it was time to begin the Exodus process, okay? Here, and especially where they are at the tail end of the 400 years, even though, it was 50 years before 50-something years before it actually ended, in 2019, right? August the 22nd, August, or maybe just December 31st, right? Using Gregorian time, right? All right, but it says he would save the tenants of Judah first, right? Now, why? That the glory of the house of David, the glory or the popularity, right, of the house of David, right, and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason. He gives you the reason why he had to save them first. Okay? Because if you don't understand that, you're not going to understand the placement over in Ezekiel 16 and 55. I guess I'll go there next. But he had to save Judah first. Yahudah. Okay? They had to come out first. I'm talking about the quarter tribe. They're not the whole entire tribe, right? They're part of the tribe. But they had to come out and go home first, and they did, okay, back in 1969, 1970, and some after that, right? They went over to Liberia, stayed there 2 years, walked into the land, right? All right, in May of, some in May, Ben-Ami like in March, different places, all right? So 1970, right? Okay, very important year, right? A lot of important things happened in 1970, all right, including the birth of the seed of David, right? All right, 7/18, right, 1970. So, a lot of important things. Sodom and her daughters arrived. I'm talking about the bulk of them arrived, not just a couple individuals that came in 69. The bulk of Sodom and her daughters walked in 1970, January, right? Okay, and then Ben-Ami arrived a little later, I think in March 1970. So a very important year, a lot of critical things dealing with this book happened in 1970. So that was, especially the number 70, deals with Israel, right? Okay, so very, very important things to know and understand. But that's why the Most High saved them first. That's why when it comes to the order, that's why Sodom and her daughters, they go back first, okay, Demona. That's why they are there today, and that's why they went back first. They precede the house of David, the governor, okay, the government arm. They precede us, that we do not magnify ourselves against them, okay? Now, next in order we know is who? Samaria and her daughters, okay? They came back around like 1993, 1994, somewhere in that area, okay? And around the same kind of time. It was kind of like, I believe it was like right at the beginning of May too. Right at the beginning of May, they came back also. All right, around that same time. They call themselves the Palestinian Liberation Organization today. Right? They have different branches of, Hamas and all that, Fatah, maybe, some more radical, parts of the PLO. But We know that they arrived during that particular time. That's the reason why Yehuda ben Israel was looking at the timeline, because he thought if he counted the years in between these movements, that if he could count the years after that, and that would tell when we would return. So that pointed to 2016. Okay, and we did all this research and stuff, that we were doing all these books, things like that. You know what I mean? But we should have just been trusting in Yah. We should have just been praying to Yah, waiting on the answer from Yah, and then also believing what we had in front of us in the manuscript. Okay, in Genesis chapter 14, 15, right? It's 400 years. And when the 400 years is up, then you're going to come out after he judges this nation. And he is judging this nation. Because see, Yehuda, he's seen that thing different. He's seen judging like the finality of America. No, not a finality. They just going to receive some judgments. Just like in Egypt, they received judgment. But it wasn't a finality of Egypt. But it was just enough judgments for us to be released and got up out of there. I'm talking about Moses. Okay? All right. Now, during the time of Zerubbabel and Jeshua and all them, okay, and Ezra, the priest, it was a little bit different. We were taken into captivity in the original Babylon, and God gave us 70 exact years. But at the end of that 70 years, the Persians came in and overthrew the Babylonians, if you know the history, right? Okay, then the Persians was kind of over everything. That's why King Cyrus was given the edict, right? That's why he gave the edict to, let us go back home. And then once we got home, then that's when we ran into all them problems, with different people, trying to build a temple and all that. Okay, that's the book of Nehemiah and Ezra. You go read it for yourself, all right? But after those 70 years, nonetheless, they returned, right? Okay, even though the Babylonians were overthrown by the Persians, right? Okay, so back on track. So the third and final movement is Jerusalem and her daughters, okay? The government arm of Yah, the house of David, okay? And the Levites, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the Benjamites, okay? Now, within this final movement, Yah is going to bring back not only us, but, people from the four corners of the earth. Y'all can bring back people from all over the place, okay? In this final Exodus. All right. So that's what it's talking about in actually over there in Isaiah 11, when God says He's gonna, put His hand a second time to record, to recover Yehuda. You know what I mean? And also other peoples too. And then there are many other verses that play into that, like I just showed you about that. One of a family, one of a city, two of a family. That may just be the process of how it's done. Okay. But that could still be a lot of people. You know what I mean? So now we can only assume and conject how this thing's going to happen. We have to wait and see it all in real time. But we're the last ones to go back. Like I said, we bear our shame all the way up to the end of the 400 years. All right? The other movements precede us. Because just think, if he had brought all three movements back at the same time, that'd have been chaos. You know what I mean? That'd have been chaos. That's why he kind of puts it, as you see here in Ezekiel 16, right? That we went over so many times. You see how he breaks it up into three different movements at this verse number 55, right? Sodom and her daughters shall return to their former estate. Keyword, former estate. Samaria and her daughters shall return to their former estate. Keyword, former estate. See right here? Return to their former estate. Then thou. Okay? Now you notice they say just thou. That could throw people. Well, what do you mean by thou? Well, then you gotta return to the very front of this book, and it tells you who that thou is. Son of Man calls Jerusalem to know her abominations. He's talking to Jerusalem all throughout this whole entire discourse that you're reading in Ezekiel 16. Okay, that's why we mentioned last. Then what? Then thou and thy daughter shall return to your former estate. Now you notice this ain't got nothing to do with no rapture or anything like, or no UFOs coming to get you or any other way. Y'all doing this whole thing. Okay. But this book right here, or this verse, it goes a lot of places in this book. Okay. That it hooks up to. All right. Like little train carts. It hooks up to them. I mean, a lot. A lot of places. I mean, because this goes over to Jeremiah, 23, verse 7 and 8, where it talks about that. Hey, this Exodus is going to be so great, it's going to eclipse anything that's been done before it. I'm talking about even the Exodus of Moses, even the Exodus of Zerubbabel goes all the way over to Micah. You know what I mean? 7:15, right? How he would do this thing like Egypt, or similar to Egypt, and maybe similar to, Ezra and Zerubbabel and their movie, Nehemiah, because it's kind of got similarities of both, right? Okay, very important to know these things, but that's the actual Exodus order, okay? All the way to Jeremiah 3:14, one of a city, two of a family. In other words, it's not going to be every single person that's going to want to come out, for whatever their purposes might be. They might just be like, hey, man, I'm cool where I'm at. You know what I mean? I'm cool. I got me a house. I got me a car, a family, a wife, whatever. I'm okay. I'm just going to stay in America. And that's fine. Stay with the daughter of Babylon. Okay? But a great deal of our people, hopefully will come out, and there'll be some strangers who want to do the will of Yah, or are already doing the will of Yah. They're going to do what? They're going to cleave. They're going to attach themselves to us, right? And want to come out with us to go serve the name of the Most High. Okay? And that's it. Naturally, you're going to have some people, who, probably think they're going to make it back for some kind of insurrection or something like that. But they're going to end up getting stopped. You know what I mean? Because the Most High is going to send them over, wherever he sends these rebels and transgressors to. Like I said, I don't know if that's Monrovia or not. We'll see. Liberia, or it could be anywhere, in general, however he wants to do it. Or he might just destroy them. I don't know. We'll see. All right? So very, very interesting times. But yeah, that's the actual Exodus order, okay, and how it's supposed to happen. And there are a lot of verses in here that cover it. So you can't just go just to one place in this book and say, hey, that's it. You know what I mean? It goes a lot of places. Jeremiah 23, over to the book of Isaiah several times. Naturally over to where it talks about the elite, right? The queens and kings of the earth, you know what I mean? They're going to bow before us. That's correct. They're going to do that. They have to do it. Okay? The Most High asked him. He said, no, you got to do it before the children of Israel, before the seed of David, right? All right. All right. And ask that question, who are these that fly as a dove to their windows? And then when it says how Sodom and her daughters, how they going to say, behold them, here they come. They're going to say, it's about time. Because y'all been talking a bunch of stuff for a long time about coming home, but we ain't seen you get here. So when they see the planes, they're going to clap and they're going to cheer them. Yeah, behold, is they here finally. They've been talking stuff for 1,000,000 years, but they never arrived in Israel. It's about time. They're going to be happy. Even though I know they hate some of the things that I'm saying about them, but I have to say these things. I want them to be on point with Yah. Because, Yah loves Sodom and her daughters, Demona. Like I said, they preceded us. They're our trailblazers. They're basically handing the baton to us to get home, right? Okay? All right? They blazed the trail for us to get there. They went through a lot over in Liberia. I'm talking a lot. Lost a lot of people. And probably lost a lot of people up to this day. Some people we don't even know about. And we thank him. We thank them for that. You know what I mean? We're not on, when y'all hear me talking, we're not on different accords. It's just, I have to tell them what's right. Okay? And what should be done. And how we are to do it. And that we praise Yah and Yah alone and no other God, nothing. And we don't praise no woman, man. Okay? And I'm going to keep saying that until I get it through to y'all. We don't do that, man. That kind of stuff, man. That's why we failed. That's what got us into the captivity, okay? Our ancestors and ourselves, all right? Now, Yah is allowing us to go home, so let's get there and let's do exactly what he asked us to do as a nation, and let's flourish and let's have some children and some families and show the rest of the world how to do what we're doing, because that's what they're going to want to know. Well, let's see y'all do this, and then we're going to want to do that too. And some of them are going to want to come, hey, lodge in the land with us. You know what I mean? Praise the Most High. You know what I mean? Do all his law and his festivals, his, appointed times, okay? As it's, as we know, I think it's in Zechariah, the Most High, the Feast of Tabernacles is going to be a worldwide feast one day. Worldwide. Everybody going to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay? So very important things and very important days that we're in right now, dealing with even, like I said, this corona and all the crown virus. You got people who got this virus. They got the virus of the crown. Everybody wants to do this thing, but it's not for them. Okay, because what? They're not Yah, our righteousness. Okay, they're not the seed of David. Okay, behold, the days come, saith Yah, I will raise up unto David a righteous branch. See, one of his progenitors, one of his sons, a king, right? This ain't about no black woman, right? Okay, or a white woman, or anybody else, right? Because a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days, during his time, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is the name whereby he shall be called Yahweh righteous, okay? Then he goes into the Exodus. Therefore, behold, the days come, said Yah, that they shall no more say, Yah liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt. You know what I mean? Because we go over that, every Passover right now at this particular time. So that's not going to be said no more. But verse 8, check it out. But it says, Yah liveth, which brought up and led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, North America, right? And, keyword and, right? From all countries whither he had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. You see that? All the countries. We're going to come back from all these countries. All right? That's Isaiah 11. All right? You can go there and see that for yourself. All right? Yah puts his hand a second time to recover all of us, all right? Because he's already recovered us once, Yahudah, right? Well, he's going to do it again a second time. That's what that means. It doesn't mean no gathering after this. It got nothing to do with that. Once this Exodus is triggered, that's all. All right? Simple as that. Now, how he does it, we don't know. We'll see what that one of a city and two of family means. It just probably means that everybody ain't going to want to go back. Okay, that's more than likely what that means, all right? We'll have to just see. We don't know everything, okay? Some things we have to let it manifest itself in reality, and then we get, true understanding from Yah himself about what was being implied in this particular book. But very, very interesting times and days. We live in some of the greatest days I think I've ever seen. I think some of the greatest days on this earth. Maybe someday we'll record some new books, not for the Bible, but just the new books for some of our children to read about all these things, happening and that happening, in our time, because we got some interesting things to talk about too. You know what I'm saying? And then, as we told many people, Jeremiah chapter 33, right? You know what I mean? Jerusalem's going to receive a name change, a couple of name changes, right? Okay. All right. So Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 16. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name with she, Jerusalem, right, shall be called Yah, our righteous. The city is going to go through a name change. Okay, it's gonna go through a name change. Okay, so the capital ain't always gonna be Jerusalem. We keep telling that to the Edomites, man. Stop all that talking about Jerusalem's the capital of the Jews. You know what I mean? Jerusalem's gonna be a thing of the past, man. When we get there, that name's gonna be a thing of the past. It's gonna be called Yah our righteous for a great while. And then it's going to be called Yah is there whenever we get done with the brand new city. Okay? Like I said, it's some exciting things that are going to happen in the Holy Land in the future. I'm telling you, I simply cannot wait. And I'm so excited to get back there and do these things and be a part of these things. That's why we had to have the plan. Okay? You have to have a sound plan. You can't go back there and just make logos and go get 501c3 tax exemptions and, make internet videos and call it a day. Let's just wait and see what happens. No, you got to have a solid plan. And once Yah has a solid plan delivered, you know what I mean, how things are supposed to go and how the government's ran, then he can trigger the Exodus. The Most High knows what he's doing. He wanted to make sure there was somebody working on these things. He didn't need everybody to work on it. Okay? Yah works through one individual. He doesn't work through everybody. He just needs that one individual to work on the plan and have the plan. And then we roll it out to the people on what should be done. It's not everybody sitting, in a room in a consortium. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't go like that. Okay? When he wrote out the temple plans for David, only David knew about it until he gave it to Solomon. When he worked with Moses, only Moses knew about the tabernacle. Okay? And then he came in and told the people and directed them on what was supposed to happen. All right? But as I said, we didn't have that plan back in 2016. But now we have it. And how great it is. And how glorious it is. And it's really in my head, so don't have to have it necessarily in front of me. We know what we know what we got to do and what required of us, to do. Mostly it's just keep Yah's law, keep his Torah law. Okay? So that's the key. Thank all of you all for listening. Like I said, this Exodus process it's mighty. And we are so glad to, be a part of all this and see all that happen within our lifetimes. These three sister movements go back, Ezekiel 16, verse 55. Okay? So go look that up and go study that. When you guys get time, read the whole entire chapter of Ezekiel 16. And you'll see, why Yah was, talking to Jerusalem like that. All right? He's kind of castigating Jerusalem about her sins. All right? Even though he gives out how the order of how he would bring us back. Not the timeline. He just gave us the order, okay? The timeline was the 400 years. It had to expire, okay? So here we are in 2020. 20, the number of redemption, right? So we expect that redemption in this year. We pray to Yah to give it to us in this year, okay? So let him move his mighty hand. As you can see by this corona thing, he's already moving his mighty hand throughout all of this earth against our enemies and against those who keep trying to fight against this thing, and all they're going to do is fight their way probably into a graveyard somewhere. Because that's the end. And when you fight against God, that's the end, right? That's what happens, okay? Instead of just allowing Yah to do what needs to be done. It doesn't matter who it is, top the triangle, all the way to the bottom. Yah likes things his way. It is his earth, and he is the king of this earth, and shall come back and be king of this earth in his temple. So thank God for the process of the Exodus. Take us home, Father Yah. We await you. This Jerusalem movement, House of David, Levites, and Benjamin. Thank you, Father Yah. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for being a listener in a great audience, regardless of how you feel about what I'm saying. Whether you agree or whether you disagree, whether you hear or whether you forbear. Peace, and Yah bless.